When I reach 1000 subscribers I will be giving away a $25 Amazon gift card away. To enter, like, subscribe and leave a comment below. Posted by u/QueenMarceline 1998. Ex-husband gets what he deserves after he cheats on my sister. Hey y'all. From the title, this story isn't about me but my sister. Well, sort of. I'm an only child, but grew alongside plenty of cousins whom I consider my siblings. TL. Doctor at the bottom. I'm on mobile, so spare me. For some clarifications, this story takes place in a third world country in Asia. Laws are different here from other first world and western countries. This took place in the Philippines. Our country is a conservative and Catholic country, so marriage and married life is held sacred, and any idea of divorce or separation of spouses is frowned upon by most traditionalists. We are basically the island version of Texas and Alabama, where there's lots of hardcore Bible thumpers. This story happened a few years ago, when I was about to go to college. My cousin and her husband had been married for a year or so by then, but haven't had much success in conceiving a child. We live in a Southeast Asian country and surrogacy isn't legal for some reason, so that option was not in the cards for them. They talked about adopting, but both of them really wanted a child of their own. Anyway, after a few months more of trying, they decided to just postpone it for a while, considering they are still young, as both are in their early 30s. Contrary to popular belief, women can still get pregnant at 30 until 39. 40 is the high risk slim chance age. They instead decided to focus on their respective careers and travel whenever possible. All in all, they were having a great life. On the outside, that is. About a few months later, my sister noticed a few things, nothing too drastic. Like, her husband would receive these late night calls. Husband is a doctor, and he would go to the other room to take it. Her husband always clearing the history in their shared desktop computer at home. Him having to go overtime way too often. Sister asked me and some of our cousins on what to do. At the time I was dating a guy pretty tech savvy, who on multiple occasions hacked my Facebook, but that is for another story, so I asked him for help. Within 2 days we had his Facebook, mail and Instagram account. We found nothing. I thought, okay, weird, maybe C's is being paranoid. Then I had a thought, what about his Viber? After a bit more digging we were able to get hold of his Viber, and boy did we find things. This asshole has been cheating on her for almost half a year. We found dozens and dozens of messages between him and some girl. In one of the messages the girl even admits that, even though he is married, she loves him and likes the thrill of being with a married man. It made me and my BF then sick. The girl was just a few years older than me, in her early 20s. They're even exchanging nudes with each other and talking about their little sexual rendezvous. I was absolutely heartbroken. My older sister always wanted a family of her own, and this ass, whom she thought was the love of her life, had just did this to her. I told my boyfriend to save all of it in a hard drive and log out the accounts. I was hesitant at first to tell my sister, but I knew she deserved the truth. A few days after debating it with myself, I finally showed her everything. As expected, this broke her. She cried and cried. I was crying along with her, as I didn't really like seeing her like this. After hours of both of us sobbing, I decided to get revenge. My sister was never the vindictive type. She was often the timid girl who let people get away with everything because she didn't like confrontation. She was heavily bullied for this during her school years, according to our other cousins that were her age. The revenge. I told my sister of my plan. Now she wasn't really planning on revenge. She wanted to just file for an annulment. Divorce isn't legal here too. But I knew someone had to teach that jerk not to mess with our family. I told her to pretend everything was okay and that she was oblivious to his cheating. It took a good amount of coaxing, but she finally agreed. I decided we needed to catch them in the act, because despite the overwhelming evidence, I had a hunch they would deny it. A week later my sister called me and told me that her husband messaged her from his work. He told her that he might work overtime again at the hospital and would just be sleeping at their condo that was about 10 minutes away. She said sure and called me almost immediately. I smiled and told my sister to meet me at the restaurant across the condominium where her husband would be. I arrived there alone and waited for my sister. A few minutes later she arrived, Lucky for us, their condo unit was outfitted with CCTV cameras you can view on your phone/tablet/computer. Husband was not fully aware of this, since when they got the condo, it was my sister who took care of outfitting the unit with furniture and stuff. He only signed the paperwork with her at the beginning and rarely had a hand in it. It was supposed to be a rental unit, but husband convinced my sister to let him use it when he would need overtime at work, so he can just sleep there and not have to drive the 1-hour journey he had to take to get to their house. We viewed the footage as we were sitting down having some drinks. Nothing yet. Husband wasn't there. An hour passed, and we see the front door open, and in walks husband with his mistress. What is good about the CCTV though was that it had an audio function, so we can hear their full-blown noises while they were fucking. At that moment my sister was about to cry, but I told her that he wasn't worth shit, and it's time to confront them. We went to the unit and sneaked inside using my sister's key. They were in the bedroom still getting it on, and I slammed the door open to see them doing it. Horrible mental picture. To say that these bastards were shocked would be an understatement. Their jaws were literally on the floor when they saw us. He tried explaining and rationalizing the situation, but I cut him off. I told him to shut up and prepare for a lawsuit. My sister was in tears at this point, and I had to drag her away as her doucher bag of a husband was pleading. We drove to her home and packed all his shit up in boxes and his bags. The drive home was not pleasant as my sister was still bawling. I comforted her as best I can and told her she would be okay. He got home just a few minutes after we were done packing. She told him that he can't live in the house anymore and that she was leaving him. He said nothing, knowing my temper and the fact that if he tried lying I would have his head then and there. Yeah, I know I'm a little ghetto, and loaded his things in his car. The next day I got the evidence from the hard drive and sent it to the board of directors of the hospital he worked in, the medical board, all his colleagues, friends, and family. I also sent out the evidence to the woman's family, friends, and to her boss and colleagues. The fallout was glorious. They both lost their jobs. Husband even had his license revoked, and his parents disowned him. One of our cousins was a lawyer and he helped our sister sue him and the woman for concubinage, PH legal term for adultery. She won the case and was granted an annulment, and she got most of their assets in the separation. The house, the condo, cars and money. His husband got a bit of money, but he had to pay a hefty price for the lawyer since his parents refused to help him. I don't recall how many years they had to serve in jail, but since neither can afford bail, they would be spending a lot of time in a facility and have a permanent criminal record when they get out of jail. My sister is fine now. She's still healing from all that bullshit and is in a better headspace now. TL. Dr. Asshole decides to cheat on my sister, gets caught, both him and mistress lose everything, and they end up in jail. And my sister wins in the end. If this ends up on YouTube, you have my full permission to read it. Posted by you/Thiefler. I got my homophobic bullying coworker fired with a mysterious package. Firstly, I'd like to start by saying I'm in no way homophobic. I respect everyone's choices, and I still don't understand why people have such a problem with others being gay. When I was about 18, I used to work in a small factory for an engineering firm as an apprentice, and had to work with this real piece of shit guy. Let's call him Kevin. For some reason Kevin would find great joy by picking on me all the time in work. He would wait until it was just me and him alone, and then call me out for being gay. Note, I'm not gay, and had a girlfriend at the time. However, that didn't matter to him. He would stroll right over to my desk and call me all these awful names like faggot, homo, cocksucker, etc. plus other words/names that are too disgusting to say. He would get right in my face and try his best to get a response from me, but I would just keep my head down and keep working. Even though I ignored him, he made me feel really crap. I began hating going into work. I started coming up with excuses for not coming in. I did this so often that ours had to have a meeting with me, and I was given an official warning. I was a shy small guy and didn't have the confidence to say anything. This kept on going for months, and one day he went too far. I was working on a design for a product from my work laptop and left the factory for lunch. When I got back, he had deleted all my work files and replaced them with screenshots of gay porn. The second I sat back down on my desk and noticed, Kevin ran up behind me and called everyone over to show them what I was supposedly looking at on my laptop. He pulled my arms back behind my chair, holding me in place, and everyone came over and started laughing at me. My boss even came over. My idiot boss believed Kevin, and I was given a warning letter about my work behavior and another official warning. I had enough and plotted my revenge. The idea I came up with was to send Kevin a package and have him open in front of everyone. You see, Kevin collected rare DVDs and would have them shipped to the company's address. He would then gather everyone around his desk to show them what he had bought, no matter what the package. So, I told my mother my plan. She knew what Kevin had done to me at this point, and she was in. I went online and ordered some extremely embarrassing stuff. I had them sent to my mother. She lived on the other side of the country, and she would send them to my workplace in Kevin's name. I did this so the package would be stamped in a different city, making it look like it was ordered somewhere else. Anyway, the day came when the package arrived. Kevin announced for everyone to come over to see his new DVD. Everyone came over and watched as Kevin opened the box. I stood at the back as I knew what was coming. Kevin stuck his hand in the box and pulled out a huge pink mankini, the one Borat wore, and a ball gag. Kevin's face went sheet white. Then everyone burst out laughing. The whole staff were bent over in laughter, some dropping to the floor crying in laughter. The staff started saying stuff like, "Is that for your weekend, Kevin? And is that for your other collection?" I was laughing so much that I couldn't breathe. Kevin ran out the room and we all descended on the box. Besides the mankini and ball gag, there was a note. Now this was the cherry on top, all thanks to my mother. One of the office staff took out the note and read it out loud. This is what it said. "Hello Kivapu 69. Because you are one of our most loyal customers, we have decided to send you some free gifts to thank you for your years of loyalty to our brand. We hope you enjoy them. All the best from the team at outoftheclosetea.com." Well, this just sent us all tumbling to the floor with laughter. I had no idea my mother would do that. Just typing it out now makes me laugh. After we all regained our composure, the head of ours came down and asked me to come up for a meeting. I entered one of the meeting rooms and there was Kevin, the head of ours, my boss and the director of the company. For the next hour Kevin tried to convince them that I had sent him the package. I protested, saying the package was stamped on the other side of the country, so how could I have sent it? The head of ours asked Kevin why he thought I sent the package. He said, "Because I always call him a," then he stopped him sentence. I turned to him and said, "Yeah, tell them what you always call me. Tell them the names you like to call me every day. Tell them how you single me out and bully me. Tell them about the hell you have put me through." The room got quiet. Kevin was told to leave while they have a chat with me. I proceeded to tell them about what Kevin was doing to me and how long it had gone on for. I told them about the names he called me and what he had done with my laptop. When I was finished, they all thanked me for being honest and said they would investigate my claims further. I was asked one more time if I had sent the package. I said I didn't, and that it may have been a mate of mine, because I had told my friends what had been going on. But it had nothing to do with me, and I had no say in it. So, an investigation did happen. They found out that Kevin was indeed bullying me and other younger staff members and apprentices in the firm. He had been doing this since the day he started working there. He was fired. But I don't feel any regret for what I did. He was a 50-year-old man that still acted as a child. If he can't grow up, then he can't work with adults. Years later, on my last day of work, I was asked by the director of the company if I had indeed sent that package to Kevin. I just smiled, winked and said nope, but my mother didn't like Kevin very much. I can now say I'm a confident, happy extrovert. I don't stand for any bullying behavior anymore and always stick up for myself and the people around me. As for Kevin, well, I hope he has improved his attitude and has grown up. Posted by u/m31td0wn. Parking spot stealing douche waffle gets his Lexus set on fire. While not as nuclear as some stories I've read, proportionate to the crime, I'd say this counts. Set the Wabak machine to the year 2000. I'm living in a crappy apartment over a storefront, so parking was limited. Now this was the middle of winter, and I didn't have a car at that period in my life, but my girlfriend at the time did. She was coming over in a couple hours, and finding parking on the street is a gamble, so I wanted to dig out a parking spot for her out of the snowbank in the alley behind my building. I didn't own a snow shovel, so using a hammer, old plastic ice cream bucket, and my bare hands I dug out a chunk about 3 meters by 2 meters by 2 meters to make room for her to park. I don't know if you can appreciate how much snow that is, but it was a lot of work, especially considering my lack of proper equipment. This isn't fresh fallen snow either. This is snowbank packed by a plow. Practically ice. But whatever, we do crazy things for love, right? But apparently I had too much faith in humanity. I thought the cardboard sign I left in the newly cleared parking spot that said I spent an hour and a half digging this out for someone specific, please do not park here, would be enough. Nope. Wouldn't be writing this if it had been. Naturally some thundercant of a Lexus owner threw the sign in the dumpster and stole the spot. I remember it was red. I was gonna post a link to a pic of a car that resembles it, but A, I see the rules prohibit links, and B, it's kind of irrelevant anyway. I hadn't told my girlfriend about my plan to dig out the parking spot, mostly because I didn't want to look like a wuss if it was too much work and I gave up. So I just stewed on it, imagining all the things I could do. My girlfriend ended up finding a spot on the street a block away, and we had a good evening anyway. She had to work the next day, so she took off around 2 AM, and I stayed up until maybe around 4 AM. The car was still there, and I was still pissed. By this time all the bars were closed, the neighbors were asleep, and the streets were quiet. Couldn't ask for a better opportunity to ruin someone's shit. I went outside with a bottle of anhydrous isopropyl I kept around as a solvent, doused the car's tires, and set them on fire. I nabbed the cardboard sign from the dumpster and used it to quickly scrape the snow and cover my tracks, then took it back inside with me. No point leaving evidence behind. Over the course of the next few minutes I heard bang, kapow, blam, boom, as the tires burst one by one. I had honestly expected the whole car to go up in flames, but each burst was apparently forceful enough to put out each individual tire, as well as blast out a sizable divot in the snowpack. Nothing happened until the next day, but police were eventually called. They were knocking on doors, asking if anyone saw something. Nope, sorry, must have slept right through it. Good luck, officer, hope you catch the guy. I turned on my police scanner to keep tabs on things, mostly out of fear of getting caught. But there were no witnesses, and I learned the owner only had liability insurance. What kind of idiot buys a Lexus, but not full coverage? I would soon find out. When I went outside to survey my handiwork under the guise of taking out the trash and being a curious resident, oh man yeah, that guy was gonna need to get his whole car sprayed. The car looked fine structurally, but I did probably more than $2,000 worth of cosmetic damage, not to mention needing 4 new tires. I also got a look at the guy who owned the car, and the image I had created in my head of what a person would look like that would so unapologetically steal someone's hard work was completely accurate. He was a grade A first class board certified textbook douchebag. Orange fake tan, way too much hair product, leather pants, weapons grade douchery, a decade before Jersey Shore was a thing. I regret nothing. Never saw that car again. Got away scot-free. Edit, and as expected with every story, you get the legions of people trying to poke holes in it, saying things like alcohol doesn't burn hot enough, yaddy yaddy yaddy. Well, guess what? Apparently it does, because we had a Lexus with 4 pop tires. I'm not sure if the tires actually caught fire, or if the heat of the flame just caused the pressure to go up to the point that the tires burst. Alls I know is I lit 4 tires on fire with 100% isopropyl alcohol, and 4 tires popped. If someone wants to do the math and figure it out, fine. Edit 2. To address some further comments, it was indeed a small bottle of isopropyl, no larger than 1 liter. It wasn't like I made sure to thoroughly saturate the tires. I was aiming to get in and out without getting caught. It was like blub blub, move on to the next, blub blub, move on to the next, etc. I smoked at the time, so I either lit the fires with cardboard matches or a simple cheap ass butane lighter. I don't remember which. but those were my main cigarette lighting tools, so it would have been one of those. I probably went with a butane lighter, but again that's a detail I simply don't recall specifically. Again, I seriously thought the tires would catch fire and the whole car would end up torched, but for whatever reason the 4 tires popped and that plus some smoke damage and bubbled paint was the extent of it. When I reach 1000 subscribers I will be giving away a $25 Amazon gift card away. To enter, like, subscribe and leave a comment below.